Yeah.
Affordable housing. It's been called workforce housing. It's affordable housing. Is that job 1, 2, or 3 for nonprofits?
That is actually an excellent question. I think it's job 1, 2, and 3 from all different perspectives, because that's what you actually have at the table here. You have resource providers, you have infrastructure builders, and then you have those that keep the story and mind the history of where these communities were and what has happened around in those communities. Rhett has mentioned a couple of times the word trust, which is what I think nonprofits are very good at as intermediaries. Because no matter how desperate a community is, if there's a sense of fear or instability, trust becomes paramount. And communities are often able to reject well-intentioned support if they can't trust where it's coming from. So it's how, say, the International African American Museum, you're just a history museum. It's how we become a convener around a discussion of low-income housing, because we're a trusted entity and we can serve as an intermediary where folks can be candid on both sides in terms of that. But I do think that unless we are supporting the bare basic needs, it's very hard for folks to get into nice big questions about community and repair and relationship and healing if you don't have a roof over your head. So I think these things are very important.
What is the priority in the Midlands for housing?
Really, excuse me, it's across the board. We have, in fact, on to Dr. Matthews' point, we have committed half of our Mackenzie Scott money as well as half of the match money towards seeding innovative approaches to affordable housing. So already we've been able to, and to do it in different ways, making sure that we're including the communities that we are either developing in or that we're trying to serve, making sure that they're included in that conversation as well. But around workforce housing, housing for teachers that is in the communities that they're serving, housing for vulnerable families, housing for chronically homeless single adults, ways to make home ownership, first-time home ownership, more attainable.
Are all those working?
Well, the ones that we have in place, that some of those are on our wish list, some of them are already working. The teacher village that we helped to fund in Fairfield County is a smashing hit, and we are looking forward to seeing the expansion of that village, and we'd love to see that model copied in other places. Looking at housing for vulnerable families, we've got 2 projects that we're a partner in, not an investment partner, but a funding partner in the Columbia area already that are well underway. The other 2 are still on my wish list, and we're working on it.
We've got about a minute and a half left. Rhett, you're going to get the last question on that same thing about around affordable housing and housing in general. How does it not get lost in the wake of what happened in the act of God or in the natural disaster? How does housing remain as a priority?
Well, I think we're going to have to do both. That's the simple answer. And from our perspective, you might say, well, your 4 lanes that I named earlier, housing does not fit into that, which is not the right answer. Housing is a social determinant of health. It also predicts the welfare of children. So far, what we're doing is working with projects that are building housing, and we're trying to support the wrap support that we can put into those housing communities. So community health workers or parenting programs or financial management programs, so that we embed those housing structures that we're not directly contributing to. We embed it, we strengthen them with wrap support from our hospitals and our child service agencies, so that the people living there get additional services that are near and accessible.